You are not waiting for a miracle. You are the miracle unfolding. What you call divine intervention is not something coming from outside of you, but something already sown into the fabric of your being. God has already worked it out for you, not in some distant heaven, but within the depths of your own consciousness. The answers you seek, the healing you desire, the breakthrough you long for, they are already complete in the unseen realm. You are not here to beg, plead, or chase outcomes. You are here to awaken, to realize that when you dare to believe, not merely with words, but with feeling and certainty, you move into harmony with the power that forms galaxies and still whispers in silence. Miracles are not rare events. They are natural to the one who knows that the end is already secure. Tonight, step into that knowing. God has already worked it out for you. God operates through your imagination. Your imagination is not idle. It is divine. It is not a mental toy. It is the workshop of God within you. Every image you hold with faith, every scene you revisit with emotion, is a seed cast into the field of your reality. Too many have been taught that God is somewhere far off, sitting on a throne beyond the clouds, occasionally intervening if you're lucky or obedient enough. But the truth is far more intimate and far more powerful. God lives in you, not as a distant deity, but as your own imagination. Think of this. Everything you now see around you was once imagined. The clothes you wear, the house you live in, the phone you hold, all were first ideas, unseen but vividly real to someone. And what was imagined with belief and consistency became form. You do this too every day, most of the time unconsciously. When you worry, you are imagining a future you do not want, yet you invest it with feeling, and the law does not care whether what you imagine is good or bad. It only brings forth what you plant and water with emotion. Your imagination is the spiritual womb. When you dare to assume something boldly, when you close your eyes and see what your senses cannot yet confirm, you are not playing pretend, you are creating. You are invoking divine law. The one who said, "Let there be light," did not wait for evidence. The command came first and light followed. So it is with you. When you declare something in your mind and live as though it were already true, life rearranges itself to reflect your inner decree. This is why Scripture says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Not what he wishes, not what he begs, what he believes and accepts within himself. Imagination fused with belief becomes creation. You are not meant to be ruled by your environment. You are meant to rule over it through the visions you entertain within. The miracle isn't in struggling, striving, or endlessly praying for something to happen. The miracle is in realizing that the very act of imagining with feeling is the creative act. You become the vessel through which God manifests. The moment you dare to see yourself as already healed, already prosperous, already transformed, you align with the power that cannot fail because it is already done. Your only task is to stay faithful to that inner vision, even when nothing outside supports it, especially then. So, guard your imagination like sacred ground. Do not let fear sow seeds where faith should grow. Stop rehearsing the worst and start rehearsing the miraculous. Dwell often in the unseen place of your answered prayer, because what you consistently see and feel within, with conviction, must appear without. This is the mystery and the majesty of God in you, not someday, now. Creation is finished. You are only manifesting. There is nothing new to be created. All that ever was and all that ever will be already exists in seed, in spirit, in essence. This truth, once understood, shifts everything. What you call waiting on God is not about something being made for you. It's about you awakening to what has already been finished from the beginning. You are not here to create your blessings. You are here to select them. Just as a radio doesn't create music but simply tunes into what is already being broadcast, your consciousness is the dial that chooses what version of reality you experience. Creation is finished. This is the mystery hidden in plain sight. Your desired healing, your dream career, the restored relationship, the peace, the abundance, all of it exists now in a higher dimension, already perfected. When you pray, you are not informing God of your needs. You are aligning yourself with the version of life where the need is already met. You are not waiting on God to move. God moved when you imagined it and believed. But here lies the challenge. Most people pray from separation. They beg as though the thing they desire is far away, instead of living from the state of it being done. You must stop seeing your desire as something ahead of you and start living as though it is already behind you. That's what it means to live from the end. If you can see it clearly and feel it fully, without contradiction, without needing to know how, you begin to draw it into your present. Imagine walking into a room and flipping a light switch. The electricity was already in place. The circuit was already complete. All that was required was for you to flip the switch, to choose it. Your desires are the same. They exist now. Your job is not to force them into being, but to flip the inner switch of belief and dwell in the light of their completion. This is why persistence in assumption is powerful. You don't make it happen, you make it welcome. You do not try to force the outcome. You tune your awareness into the version of reality where it's already true. Creation doesn't unfold in time, it unfolds in you. Time is just a stage upon which eternity reveals itself. So let go of the striving. Release the tension of trying to make it work. Instead, sit quietly, close your eyes, and step into the scene where it's already done. Feel the joy, the relief, the peace of knowing it is complete. Not because you're worthy someday, but because God has already worked it out for you. All of it. All you must do is accept, assume, and align. You are not waiting for your miracle, you are walking into it, one assumption at a time. It is finished. Your inner conversations determine your life's direction. The most important dialogue you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. Long before others speak to you, long before circumstances show up in your world, your inner conversations are setting the tone, painting the picture, and casting the outcome of your life. The words you whisper silently, the arguments you replay, the declarations you make when no one is watching, these are not harmless thoughts. They are creative forces shaping your reality. What you accept inwardly becomes the script that life must follow outwardly. Each time you say to yourself, I always struggle, or nothing ever works for me, or people don't see my worth, you are not merely expressing frustration. You are making decrees, and life, like a faithful servant, obeys. Your subconscious hears these inner statements and treats them as commands, not suggestions, not metaphors, but realities to materialize. It does not question whether they're good or bad, only whether you believe them. And belief is demonstrated through repetition and emotion. This is why it is written, let the weak say, I am strong. Not feel strong, not try to be strong, but say it, declare it, speak it until your inner dialogue is saturated with power, not pity. Even if your outer world contradicts it, even if your emotions resist it, you speak what you want to be true until it becomes your truth. Your inner speech is prayer. Every internal conversation is a seed, and those seeds do not return void. What you speak within becomes the framework of what you experience without. If you want to change your life, you must begin by changing your habitual thoughts. You must train yourself to listen closely to what you're telling yourself about your health, your finances, your relationships, and your purpose. What stories are you repeating? What assumptions are you entertaining? What tone are you using when you speak to yourself? And if your life seems stuck, it is not because God has withheld anything from you. It is because your inner voice is reinforcing a version of life you no longer want. But here is the miracle. You can change it today, right now. Begin speaking inwardly from the place of victory, not defeat. Say, I am already free. I am already blessed. I am already chosen. Everything I need is flowing to me now. Say it until your inner world becomes a sanctuary of peace and power. Life does not respond to begging. It responds to belief, and belief is made firm through repetition. As you revise your inner speech, your outer life must shift. Not might, must. The law is unfailing. You do not need to convince the world. You only need to convince yourself. You are the prophet of your own life, and your words are the prophecies being fulfilled daily. Choose your words wisely. They are not echoes. They are causes, and your world is their effect. Faith is feeling, not hope. Faith is not a wish. It is not passive. It is not hoping things will change or praying with crossed fingers, uncertain if the heavens are listening. Faith is the full acceptance, the inner knowing that it is already done. It is the feeling of assurance that what you have imagined is already real, even before one piece of evidence appears in the physical world. Faith does not wait. Faith acts, feels, and lives as if the miracle has already taken place. Many confuse faith with blind optimism. But real faith is not blind. It sees clearly, beyond the veil of appearances. It looks directly into the invisible and says, this is mine, now. And because it feels the truth of that statement in the heart, the outer world begins to respond. This is the great mystery. Feeling is the secret. What you feel to be true inwardly, life mirrors outwardly. Not what you merely affirm with words, not what you hope for when you're desperate, but what you embody emotionally. Hope waits. Faith walks. Hope says, maybe someday. Faith says, it's already mine. That's the difference between lingering in a dream and manifesting it. God responds not to empty repetition, but to conviction, to the inner acceptance of the thing desired. You are not trying to convince the universe. You are only called to convince yourself. And you do that by feeling. Think of a person who is already wealthy. They do not walk around wondering if they will have enough. Their inner state is saturated with the feeling of abundance. And that feeling influences every choice, every interaction, every expectation. That is what you must claim now. Not the appearance of the blessing, but the feeling of already having received it. Once you feel it as real, life cannot help but reflect it. This is why it is so vital to still yourself, go within and imagine when you close your eyes and see yourself already healed, already celebrated, already thriving, and then you allow yourself to feel the joy, the gratitude, the peace of that reality. You are not escaping life. You are creating it. You are moving from the old version of yourself into the one where the miracle is natural and inevitable. Faith is not striving. Faith is rest, not passive rest, but the powerful rest of one who knows it is done. Just as you sit in a chair without checking its strength, or lie in bed without wondering if it would collapse, faith rests in the certainty of the unseen being more real than the seen. It doesn't argue with the facts. It redefines the facts through higher truth. And when doubt arises, as it will, faith does not panic. Faith returns to the inner state again and again until it becomes the dwelling place of your soul. You feed faith not with logic, but with repetition, with vision, with feeling. When your mind wants to spiral into fear, pause, close your eyes, see the outcome you desire, feel it, smile, give thanks, then go on with your day, knowing that the seed is planted and it will grow. You don't have to force the miracle. You only have to stay faithful to the feeling of it being done. It may come tomorrow or next week or in a form you didn't expect, but it will come. Because once you assume a state and sustain the feeling of it, the world must rearrange itself to match that inner truth. Faith is not the absence of resistance. It is the persistence of alignment. It is the steady returning to the inner state again and again until the outer catches up. Do not measure faith by how things look. Measure it by how you feel when you think of your desire. If the feeling is, yes, this is mine, then it is done. Miracles are born where faith lives. And faith lives not in the intellect, but in the heart, in the felt experience of having received what you once thought was far away. Let go of hoping. Step into knowing. Feel it real, and it must become real. This is the law. This is the path. This is the power working in you now.